what's up? So you guys remember that video I made the first week of Steve's release where I gave my opinion on how Steve might be one of the worst characters in the game due to his base stats, range, and whatever else I said? Well, I was obviously very wrong, which is fine. I mean, I was not gonna have a correct opinion 1 week into his release, but the video did what it mainly was supposed to do in collecting views at least. Besides, who hasn't been under the impression that Byleth or Incineroar or another character, for example, sucked when they first came out? Anyways, that video aged horribly, so I took it down because at this point it's just misleading and unnecessary. I was wrong about a lot of things, probably even all of it. Steve's neutral is extremely obnoxious and unfamiliar. He has setups like no other character, so many tiny safe openers that can lead to so much, and a generally frustrating playstyle that players just don't seem to have enough patience or motivation to learn and figure out. And even when you learn how to play against Steve, some characters will just naturally still do really bad against him, and because of the insane amount of options and playstyles that Steve allows, you'll still find yourself playing against something new against each good Steve player, and so it's still extremely hard to keep up with or figure out or react to each small interaction and situation. Especially since a new trick seems to be discovered almost every second day. Steve has been performing exceptionally well, better than I ever thought any character would in Ultimate. It's not as ridiculous as Bayonetta's domination in Smash 4 or Meta Knight's domination in Brawl, but it doesn't feel that far away from it. Players like Onin, Akala, and Yanni have really changed my mind and proved me wrong, and honestly, it's been pretty exciting to watch. I'm not really a fan of how Steve plays in Smash. I would have appreciated a more aggressive design personally, although I could say that about a lot of characters, to be honest. But I do respect the mastery that these players have achieved with the character and all the crazy stuff that's been discovered. Steve's punish game looks insane, and not just because of how brutal gold or diamond can be, but even wood or iron combos can just kill you or launch you off stage, and then you have to deal with the insane block edge guarding and two-framing game, or just the incredibly easy and insanely good TNT ledge trap. And there are just so many non-committal, quick, and easy ways to find combo starters. Making a mistake against Steve seems to cost players a lot in almost all situations, and the character is not even optimized yet. Even Steve dropping a combo can do 60 or 80. And sure, while SDI can kind of work, Steve will still have a few solutions against the way you SDI or just kill you anyway. So from the looks of it, he actually might be one of the best characters, some would argue the best. In a lot of cases, it's gone so far that some players just seem to be losing motivation to compete or even play the game due to Steve. Granted, Kazuya and Min fall into that category too. I do believe most players, even some top players, aren't playing the DLC Pack 2 matchups, and especially Steve, that well due to not knowing the counterplay or objectives in general. Even with knowing all the counterplay, however, Steve still proves to be one of the best characters in the game. In fact, recently, Steve proved to be the first place in the first official tier list. I never really had a stance on whether or not Steve should be banned. I didn't really think he deserved one. At least I kept thinking not quite yet. There were arguments to ban Steve because people were afraid Steve would progressively kill viewership and competitive numbers, even though Steve was getting a crazy amount of views. And honestly, you could argue other characters actually harm viewership even more. Another argument was that Steve was just too strong, which I didn't really think justified a ban. However, recently there's been some game-breaking tech discovered. Tech that prevents Steve from being spiked, and even tech that lets Steve get out of any multi-hit. The multi-hit one looking kinda practical and not too difficult. After swinging an aerial, if you hold B, then get hit with a multi-hit, you can press B again, which for some reason puts Steve in a weird state and lets him get out of multi-hits, and you can follow it up with anything. Double jump, air dodge, aerials. This is just the beginning too. This same tech can have you neglect hit stun completely and punish an opponent for hitting you by simply pressing an aerial and holding B during the aerial, then when you get hit, press B again to cancel out of hit stun and follow it up with literally anything. Crazy. Fairly easy to execute and literally game breaking. This even works during a ledge jump, meaning you can neglect the ledge trap part of the game. And with this, Steve might actually be more broken than Brawl Meta Knight. These game-breaking tech are obviously not meant to be there and give a clear unfair advantage. You could argue to just ban the tech, but that would mean that you'd have to have TOs overseeing the games, or the replays, and assuming that the tech is even known by all the TOs, or that there is time for something like that, or even more importantly, that the opponent fighting Steve knows about it, or that they would know how to spot it. This isn't even the only potentially game-breaking tech either. What about Steve being able to mine and reset ledge invincibility over and over again, with some characters having no solution to it? What about Steve being able to break a shield on platforms effortlessly? What about an anvil denying tether recoveries? Think that's intentional? What about some projectiles not harming blocks at all? Think that's an intentional design choice? What about this tech? Or this one? Or that one? Is this character even actually playing Smash anymore? Clearly, this character wasn't properly tested or finished, and I think I'm starting to see a good couple of amount of game-breaking arguments to actually start discussing a ban. I didn't even bring up how unranked teenage Wi-Fi warriors started winning majors all of a sudden, and even 3-stocking MKLeo in a 3-0 game. As if that's ever happened before. You might hear that sentence and find it disrespectful. Unranked teenage Wi-Fi warriors. I'm not trying to disrespect. It's just the truth. Steve's tournament results speak for themselves, and the Smash community has never witnessed anything like this before. Steve, without the tech, might not be better than Bayonetta or Brawl Meta Knight, but he sure seems to carry harder than them. I know that everyone, including me, is literally just hoping Nintendo works on one last balance patch, because I genuinely don't want to ban any character in this game that I love. But with all the game-breaking tech and absurd tournament results that Steve comes with, I'm not sure it's healthy anymore. But what do you guys think? Do you think he should be banned because of game-breaking tech, or would you rather wait until this tech is first applied in tournaments before banning him? Would you rather ban the tech itself? Do you think banning Steve would motivate a new patch for Smash? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Feel free to book a session on Metafy to get better at all aspects of this game. You could even DM me on Discord if you wish to purchase my 2 seminars on Mastering Neutral and Mastering the Advantage State. Anyways, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.